My name is Victor, and welcome back to the latest episode of Bictaar Sensei no授業. Sorry about being MIA for a while. July tends to be a very busy month for me, and like all the teachers try to fit as many English classes as possible. So I have like back to back English classes. So it's very hard for me to find free time. So I haven't been able to do a video in a while. So sorry, I apologize, but I got one now. So today I'm going to focus on an activity that's very easy. Most of you already know this game. It's Simon Says. And you're probably thinking, why are you going to waste the whole vlog on an explanation of Simon Says? We already know how to play Simon Says. And in theory, yes, Simon Says is a very easy game. Most of us have been playing Simon Says since elementary school. But we know English. So when you teach a game in English to English speakers, obviously they tend to pick it up quick. But when you're talking about elementary Japanese kids, it's kind of not as easy as you think. Okay, if I say Simon Says and an action, do the action. It's okay. Simon Says, touch your head. Okay. Simon Says, touch your shoulders. Okay. If I don't say Simon Says, touch your head, touch your shoulders, touch your knees, don't do the action. Don't do it. And I know what some of you guys are thinking. Why don't you explain it in Japanese? Yeah, I've tried that too. もし Simon Says と言ったら action やってもいいですよ。でももし Simon Says と言わなかったらアクションをやらないでね。やらないで。日本語がうまいね。わかんない。Yeah, those were pretty basic, simple explanations, and it's always better to demonstrate versus explaining only, but it's just to give you an idea of how the kids tend to react. Because even when I have demonstrated, even when I've slowed the explanation down, even when I've taken the time to explain and make sure the kids understand, it always kind of just doesn't work out. Simon Says, touch your head. Touch your head. Simon Says, touch your shoulders. Touch your shoulders. Shoulders. Shoulders 触って。触って。やった。Shoulders. Simon Says, touch your knees. Touch your knees. Knees だよ。膝。膝。Touch your head. Touch your head. No. Eh? I didn't say Simon Says. No. Don't touch. Don't touch. Don't touch. わかんない。No. Yep, that's about right. So yeah, it's a pretty easy game, but try to explain it to Japanese kids. So I've always had trouble teaching Simon Says. I'm not sure if any of you have. But luckily, recently, my good friend Beni, he works in the same town I do. I went to his lesson and he had a cool and awesome way to like teach Simon Says, and the kids picked it up very easily. So with his permission, I'm going to teach you guys the way he taught Simon Says to his kids. Okay, so the first step to teaching this Simon Says is to basically use the board. Draw a character that represents Simon. So there you go. That's my Simon. Pretty simple. And I use Japanese, but you don't have to use Japanese. As long as you have like basically a character, that's all that matters. I also add a speech bubble, and in the speech bubble, I write touch your in hiragana, so the first graders can understand it. Because I don't know if you know, but first graders don't really know katakana yet, so it's always easier to use hiragana with them. Of course, you don't have to use Japanese. I just use it because I think it's easier for the kids to understand. So yeah, this is my Simon. So another good thing about using Simon is that you could use Simon to get a response from the kids. So basically, this is something that my friend Benny also did, is basically have the kids greet Simon. And it's really funny because you can add stuff and features and things to the picture of Simon in order to have the kids understand what's going on. For example, just look at Simon and interact with him. So basically be like, hey Simon, and then look at the kids. And chances are the kids aren't going to respond at first. So when the kids don't respond, that's cool. Just add stuff to the picture. Like a tear. And the kids are going to be like, oh no, he's crying. And just be like, hey Simon. And still no response. So just keep on adding like more tears. And you just keep like interacting. Like, hey Simon. Make your voice louder so they can understand that you're supposed to say hi to Simon. So when they actually say hi to Simon, you could just take a tear away. And then be like, hey, Simon! And when they respond again, even louder, take away another tear. Do it one more time, be like, hey, Simon! And then they're gonna be really, really energetic and say it. What I do is I add this. It looks like he's smiling more, and now his mouth is open, so it connects to the whole touch your and what Simon's going to be saying. So once you have this, and the kids have basically greeted, you use Simon to ask the kids to do whatever action they have to do. I also set it up. I tell him that Simon doesn't speak Japanese, so he's really, really shy. So then I get really, really close to his mouth, and I make acknowledgement that he's telling me something. So I go like, oh. And then basically you just say, Simon says, touch your head. And then encourage the kids to touch their head. And then go back to Simon and say, Simon says, touch your shoulders. And encourage the kids to do the action. And then one more time. Simon says, touch your knees. And encourage the kids to touch their knees. So you keep on doing back and forth to teach them that Simon is saying this, so you have to do the action. After about like 5 tries, you could just say, without even being close to Simon, in fact, the farther you get to Simon, the better. Just say, touch your head. And then all of them are going to touch their head. It's inevitable. They're going to touch your head. But then be like, no, 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 no. Simon didn't say. Simon didn't say it. So then they could slowly get that, like, when you get close to Simon and you hear him, you have to say, Simon says, and they could do the action. But when you're far from Simon, just say, touch your shoulders. They're going to realize that Simon didn't say that, so you can't do the action. So of course you're going to have to do different trials, go back and forth, until the kids really, really understand. But when the kids really understand, you don't even have to use Simon anymore. You could just be like, Simon says, touch your head. Simon says, touch your shoulders. Simon says, touch your knees, touch your head. Oh no, Simon didn't say. It's always good to like go back to Simon, just be like, Simon didn't say, so they can remember that Simon has to say it. But, you know, it's always better to like stop using the gesture after a while, just so that they can know the game without Simon. So this is a very, very good and interactive way to like teach Simon Says, and the kids really, really enjoy it and they start laughing. And another thing that I do to make the kids laugh afterwards is I make them say goodbye to Simon. And of course, when they don't say goodbye, I add the tears a lot. I add the tears. So they could be like, oh my God, he's crying. We're not saying bye to Simon. So then go, bye Simon. When they say bye Simon, I of course erase the tears and do like little sparkles in the eyes, very typical Japanese animation kind of stuff. But that he's happy. And then I erase Simon. And the kids get really, really nervous when you erase Simon because they're like, oh no, he's dying. And I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. He's going to the blackboard world. And the kids really, really enjoy that and they start laughing. And it's okay because then they're all like, okay, you know, he's just going away and like we had fun. And they understood the game without realizing that you taught them a game. They just thought it was like a whole interaction with Simon. So it's really, really good. And then whenever you want to play Simon Says again, like in a different class, the future class, what you could do is just go to the board and be like, and point at the board and say that someone's coming, and then they'll get really excited because they know that you're about to play Simon Says. So this was a really, really cool interactive way of teaching Simon Says, and I just wanted to share that with you. And I can't take credit, it's all Beni. So Benito Tesoriero, thank you for teaching me this, and I hope you guys can use it. And don't worry about the kids messing up, especially first graders, because let's be honest, first graders, regardless of them being Japanese, American, Colombian, Chinese, African, whatever, regardless of where they're from, first graders, they tend to get confused regardless of the language. It's not so much a language barrier sometimes, it's just first graders get confused. So obviously you're going to still have kids messing up, but using Simon has helped minimize that. You can use this for warm-ups, you can use this as when you're teaching body parts so they can know what to touch. When you're teaching actions like jumping, when you teach them to turn around, these are really, really easy like vocabulary that you could use Simon Says and incorporate it. So Simon Says is a very, very useful and helpful game, so please use it. So yeah, this was the latest episode of Bikta Sensei's no Jugyo, and hopefully you guys really enjoyed it. And if you guys have any suggestions, please give me suggestions. I'm open to anything. And with my summer vacation starting next week, hopefully I have more time to crank more videos out. But at the same time, I kind of like the school setting, so I don't know if I'll be able to come to school to do the school setting. I don't know if I'll figure some other thing. But hopefully I'll have at least 1 or 2 episodes done during my vacation. So goodbye, see you, have a nice day. And for all my fellow ALTs, happy summer. Do you even say happy summer? I don't even know. But yeah, have a good summer vacation. Later, guys.